Well, joining me now to share his thoughts on former President Nelson Mandela is none other than Kuseni Dlamini, the former CEO of Old Mutual. Kuseni, when did you first meet Mandela?
It was during my time at Anglo-American that I first met Mr. Mandela. And then, of course, prior to having the opportunity to meet him in person, is somebody that has always influenced one's thinking from the time that one was at university and from the time that one was part and parcel of the liberation struggle and actively involved. But from a management point of view, his philosophy and ethos played a very profound and very important role in just shaping how some of us who entered the management space post-1994 really tried to build a workplace in which different people at different levels of the management hierarchy were working together.
So many people say he's the greatest leader of all time. What makes him that?
His ability to relate to different people, because leadership is really about the ability to relate and influence whoever you come into contact with. He is comfortable whether he's talking to CEOs or chairmen of companies. He's also comfortable, needless to say, if he is addressing members of the National Union of Mine Workers or other workers in other industries. So his ability to build relationships and connect with people at different levels, it makes him a unique leader. And secondly, his ability to be a visionary thinker, to think beyond the here and now and be able to take you to another world that probably you'd not have imagined, and be able to change your thinking and your stereotypes and your dogmas about things to be able to unlock possibilities that you may not have thought about.
Earlier, my colleague Chris Bishop, the editor of Forbes magazine, was saying that Mandela was also known as being particularly tough on CEOs, particularly if he wanted to gather money for his charities, like the Nelson Mandela's Children Fund. At Anglo-American, did you experience that toughness?
We did a lot with him, and he used to reach out to the very top of Anglo-American, to the Oppenheimers, and I can tell you, they will tell you that his calls are one of those calls that you can't say no to. And if there's a project that he wanted to be done, I've never met a CEO who ever resisted his charm. And people...
Nobody could resist his charm.
Indeed, yes.
We were saying, earlier we were chatting to Raymond Ackerman, who met Nelson Mandela when he was raising money for the elections, and he had never, Pick n Pay had never given money to any politician, but Nelson Mandela convinced him to give money to him. So, as you say, nobody says no to him.
Absolutely.
A couple of his other values when it comes to leadership, and values that hopefully we will see living in leadership beyond Nelson Mandela.
One of the very deep and profound values that is really so important, which the world needs, is really leadership that is rooted in caring for the people. He had this thesis about human solidarity, the ability to care about other people, not just putting yourself first. I think business people and business organizations today in South Africa and everywhere in the world have that challenge of making sure that they continue to do well by doing good to society. We've just gone through the global economic crisis triggered by the financial services sector, and that has also revealed a number of excesses that are at variance and at odds with the kind of values that Mr. Mandela stood for. And I think his philosophy and his practice in leadership will leave a legacy that is worthy of emulation by current and future generations.
Are you worried about what now?
I am hopeful that we can use this moment to celebrate his life, reflect on his legacy, and really go back to basics and ask ourselves as individuals and as organizations, what can we do to make the world a better place for all, as former President Nelson Mandela really worked most of his 90 years of living, worked very hard to try and achieve that. In a way, I'm optimistic and very bullish that we had a leader of his caliber who did not just touch us as South Africans, but also touched the whole world. I happened to spend time at Harvard University early this year in March and April, and it was just fascinating to hear some of the top Harvard professors who were giving talks on leadership. No talk on leadership at Harvard will happen without Mandela being mentioned. Things that he's done for the US, things that he's done across the world, a lot of South Africans will not be aware of. And in a sense, I tend to feel that we had a gem that we did not quite appreciate, although we appreciate him more, but we could do more to really try and unpack his legacy and try and perpetuate it and try and make sure that current and future generations, especially the young people, are taught more about his thesis, his vision, and his philosophy.